Michael Brennan stands in his new wife's luxury home at 10:34 p.m., scrolling through a text from his 12-year-old son. "Dad, why don't you love us anymore? Did we do something wrong?" He's about to delete it like he's deleted dozens of similar messages when the temperature drops and impossible light fills the room. Jesus Christ stands before him, and between them appears a vision that makes Michael's blood run cold. His two children, sitting on the stairs of their mother's house, suitcases packed for a weekend visit that will never happen, crying because Daddy chose his new wife over them. Again, you're probably wondering how a 43-year-old man who'd once been a devoted father ended up in a luxury home with his second wife, having abandoned his two children from his first marriage, emotionally, financially, and spiritually, and how Jesus Christ appeared to make him experience every moment of rejection, abandonment, and heartbreak from his kids' perspective. Let me take you back to when Michael Brennan promised his children he'd always be their dad, no matter what, and how, when he met a woman who didn't want the baggage of stepchildren, he chose her comfort over his children's hearts.
If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, pause this video. I'm putting resources in the description that could save a life.
Divorce is devastating for children. But what happens after divorce? How parents choose to prioritize their new relationships over their existing children, that's where some of the deepest damage occurs. This is the story of a father who remarried and, in the process, systematically erased his children from his life, not through paperwork or legal abandonment, but through something more insidious. Emotional abandonment disguised as moving on, choosing his new wife's preferences over his children's needs, prioritizing his second chance at happiness over his first responsibility as a father. Michael Brennan was 43 years old, a successful sales executive in Phoenix, Arizona. He'd been divorced for 4 years from his first wife, Jennifer. They had 2 children together, Connor, age 12, and Sophie, age 9. 4 years ago, when the divorce was finalized, Michael had made promises to his kids. "I'll always be your dad. Divorce means mommy and daddy don't live together anymore, but I'll still see you all the time. I'll still be there for you. Nothing changes between us." But everything had changed. 2 years after his divorce, Michael met Vanessa, 32 years old, never married, no children, beautiful, successful, exciting. She represented a fresh start, a chance to leave behind the failure of his first marriage and build something new. But Vanessa had made one thing clear from the beginning. "I'm not interested in being a stepmom. I didn't sign up for kids. If we're going to be together, I need to be your priority, not your ex-wife's children." Michael should have walked away, should have said, "I have children. They're part of my life. If you can't accept that, we're not compatible." But he didn't, because Vanessa was exciting, new, uncomplicated, because his kids reminded him of his failed first marriage, because choosing Vanessa was easier than dealing with the messy reality of co-parenting. So Michael made a choice. He chose Vanessa. And in choosing her, he systematically abandoned Connor and Sophie. It started slowly, missing a weekend here and there because Vanessa wanted to take a trip, cutting visits short because Vanessa didn't like having his kids in her space, reducing child support because Vanessa wanted a bigger house and complained Michael was giving too much to his ex. Over 2 years, Michael's involvement in his children's lives diminished from every other weekend and Wednesday dinners to maybe once a month, if that. He stopped attending their school events, stopped calling regularly, eventually stopped responding to their messages. Connor and Sophie watched their father choose a new woman over them, watched him build a new life that didn't include them, watched the promises he'd made dissolve like they'd never mattered. This is the story of paternal abandonment in the age of remarriage, of children who become baggage, to be minimized rather than human beings to be loved, of a father who chose his new wife's comfort over his children's hearts. And it's the story of how Jesus Christ appeared on November 8th, 2023, and did something that destroyed Michael's comfortable rationalizations. He made Michael experience his children's abandonment from their perspective, every broken promise, every missed visit, every moment they'd waited for a father who chose someone else. Michael Brennan married Jennifer Hayes in 2004. He was 24, she was 23. They'd met in college, dated for 3 years, married young and hopeful. Connor was born in 2011, Sophie in 2014. For several years, they were a happy family, or at least appeared to be. But by 2018, the marriage was deteriorating. Michael and Jennifer fought constantly about money, about parenting styles, about Michael's frequent business travel. The love that had brought them together had eroded into resentment and contempt. They tried counseling. It didn't help. By 2019, both agreed. The marriage was over. The divorce was finalized in March 2019. Connor was 8, Sophie was 5. The custody arrangement was standard. Jennifer got primary custody. The kids lived with her. Michael got them every other weekend and Wednesday evenings. Child support was set at $3,000 per month fair given Michael's income of $120,000 annually. Initially, Michael was a good divorced dad. He showed up for his weekends, took the kids to their activities, called them every night he didn't have them, attended school events, doctor's appointments, parent-teacher conferences. Connor and Sophie adjusted to the divorce reasonably well because both parents remained actively involved. Yes, their family was broken, but both mom and dad still loved them, still showed up, still made them a priority. Then Michael met Vanessa in August 2021, 2.5 years after the divorce. Vanessa Taylor was 32 years old, a marketing executive, beautiful and ambitious. She'd never been married, had no children, and had built her life around career success and personal freedom. She and Michael met at a professional conference. The chemistry was immediate. Within weeks, they were dating seriously. Michael was smitten. After years of difficult marriage and messy divorce, Vanessa represented something exciting, uncomplicated romance, adult relationship, no baggage. But there was baggage. Connor and Sophie weren't baggage, they were human beings, but Vanessa saw them that way from the beginning. On their third date, Vanessa made her position clear. Michael, I need to be honest. I'm not interested in being a stepmom. I didn't choose to have kids, and I don't want my life revolving around someone else's children. If we're going to be serious, I need to know, can you compartmentalize? Keep your kids separate from our relationship? Michael should have said no, should have explained, I have children, they're part of my life. I can't compartmentalize them. If you can't accept that, we're not compatible. But Michael was already emotionally invested, and Vanessa's position, while harsh, appealed to a part of him that wanted to leave his failed first life behind and start fresh. I can compartmentalize, Michael said. My time with my kids is my time with them. My time with you is separate. They don't have to intersect. It was the first betrayal. Because children aren't something you compartmentalize. They're not a hobby you set aside when convenient. They're human beings who need to be integrated into every aspect of your life. But Michael had made his choice. Vanessa over integration, new life over old responsibilities. The changes started subtly. Michael's first missed weekend came 3 months into dating Vanessa. She'd planned a surprise getaway to Sedona, just the two of them. Romantic, no kids. But it was Michael's weekend with Connor and Sophie. I need to reschedule with the kids, Michael told Vanessa. This is my custody weekend. Can't Jennifer take them? Vanessa asked. I already booked the hotel, paid for everything. I was trying to do something nice for us. Michael felt torn. His custody agreement said this weekend was his. But Vanessa had gone to effort and expense. And the kids would be fine with Jennifer. It was just one weekend. He called Jennifer. Hey, can you take the kids this weekend? Something came up for work. Jennifer was frustrated. She'd planned her own weekend, counting on her custody break, but agreed. Michael texted Connor, 9 years old, and Sophie, 6. Hey kiddos, sorry, but Dad has to work this weekend. I'll see you next time. Love you. Connor texted back. Okay, Dad, miss you. One missed weekend. No big deal, right? Except it established a pattern. Michael's time with Vanessa began taking priority over his time with his kids. And once the pattern started, it accelerated. Michael and Vanessa got engaged in March 2022, 6 months after they started dating. Fast, but Michael was 42 and felt like he'd wasted too many years in his first marriage. He wanted to move forward. The engagement brought more changes. Vanessa moved into Michael's apartment, the apartment where Connor and Sophie stayed during their custody weekends. Vanessa made her discomfort with the kids' presence clear immediately. Michael, I can't relax in my own home. When your kids are here, they're loud, they make messes, they interrupt our time. Can we reduce how often they stay over? They only stay twice a month, Michael said. That's already minimal. Could they stay at your ex-wife's when you visit them? Or could you take them out during the day but not have overnights? I need this to be our space, not a part-time daycare. Michael was uncomfortable but wanted to keep Vanessa happy. He began making excuses to avoid overnight visits. Hey kids, instead of you staying over this weekend, how about Dad picks you up Saturday and we do something fun, then I drop you back at Mom's? Connor, now 10, was confused. But it's your custody weekend. We're supposed to sleep over. I know, buddy, but Dad's apartment is being renovated. It's easier if you sleep at Mom's. The lie came easily, the first of many. Gradually, overnight visits became rare. Then weekend visits became day visits. Then day visits became shortened to a few hours. Jennifer noticed and confronted Michael. You're supposed to have the kids every other weekend. You've had them 3 times in the last 2 months. Connor is asking why Dad doesn't want him to stay over anymore. I'm busy with work and wedding planning, Michael said defensively. And the kids are fine. They're with you most of the time anyway. They're not fine, Michael. They're confused and hurt. Connor thinks he did something wrong. Sophie keeps asking why Daddy doesn't love them anymore. That's ridiculous. I love my kids. Just because I'm not maintaining the exact custody schedule doesn't mean I don't love them. But love without presence is just empty words. Michael and Vanessa married in June 2022. It was a beautiful wedding, expensive venue, 200 guests, perfect photos. Connor, Eleven, and Sophie, 8, were invited, but they weren't in the wedding party. Vanessa had made clear she wanted a sophisticated, adult wedding, without children involved in the ceremony. Connor and Sophie sat in the audience with Jennifer, who'd attended as a courtesy to her children. They watched their father marry a woman who clearly didn't want them in her life. At the reception, Michael barely spoke to his kids, too busy with guests, with Vanessa, with his new life. When Connor tried to talk to him, Michael said, "Not now, buddy. Dad's busy. We'll catch up later." Later never came. Sophie cried that night. "Why doesn't Daddy want us at his wedding?" "You were at the wedding," Jennifer said carefully, trying to protect them. "We weren't in it," Sophie said. "All his friends were in it, but not us. Doesn't Daddy love us?" Jennifer held her daughter and had no good answer, because the truth that Daddy had chosen a woman who saw them as inconvenient, and Daddy valued that woman's comfort over their inclusion, was too devastating for an 8-year-old to hear. After the wedding, Michael and Vanessa moved into a new house, a beautiful 4-bedroom in a gated community in Scottsdale. Expensive, luxurious, exactly what Vanessa wanted. The house had 4 bedrooms, 1 master, 1 guest room, 1 home office, 1 gym. Connor asked during a rare phone call, "Dad, does the new house have rooms for me and Sophie?" Michael hesitated. "The house has guest rooms. When you visit, you can stay in one of those. But do we have our own rooms? Like with our stuff? Buddy, you're only here a couple times a month. It doesn't make sense to dedicate rooms just for you." The message was clear. You don't belong here. You're guests, not family. Vanessa had rules about the children's visits. Maximum 1 visit per month. "I need most weekends for us. Michael, your kids can visit once a month. That's plenty. Day visits only, no overnights. I can't relax with children in my house. They can visit during the day but sleep at their mother's. No holidays. Holidays are for us, our time to build traditions. Your kids have their mother for holidays. No calls during dinner. If Connor or Sophie call during our dinner time, don't answer. Our time together is sacred. Reduce child support. You're giving $3,000 a month to your ex while we're trying to build our life. That's our money. Reduce it." Michael agreed to all of it. Every single demand that pushed his children further away, he accepted. He saw Connor and Sophie perhaps once a month for a few hours, usually taking them to lunch or a movie, then dropping them back at Jennifer's by evening. He stopped attending their school events, open houses, concerts, sports games. "Vanessa doesn't want to sit through kids' events, and it's awkward for me to go alone." He stopped calling them regularly. "Vanessa doesn't like when I'm on the phone with my kids during our time together." He reduced child support to $1,500 per month, half what he'd been paying, claiming financial hardship due to some scented, the new house. We have a big mortgage now. Jennifer needs to understand I have new obligations. And he stopped spending holidays with them entirely. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, all became Vanessa and Michael time. Connor and Sophie spent holidays without their father. From Connor and Sophie's perspective, their father had disappeared. Connor, now 12, remembered when Dad used to call every night, used to come to his soccer games, used to help with homework on Wednesday evenings, used to make him feel important, loved, prioritized. Now Dad was distant, busy, always had excuses, and when they did see him once a month for a few hours, Dad seemed distracted, checking his phone, rushing through their time together to get back to Vanessa. Connor stopped asking about sleepovers at Dad's house, stopped inviting Dad to his games. Dad never came anyway. Stopped sharing about school or friends. Dad didn't seem interested. He became withdrawn. His grades dropped. His teacher called Jennifer. Connor seems depressed. He's isolating from friends. Is everything okay at home? How do you explain to a teacher that a child is depressed because his father abandoned him for a new wife? Sophie, now 9, was younger and more openly wounded. She'd cry before the rare visits with Dad. Does Daddy still love me? Did I do something wrong? Jennifer would reassure her. Daddy loves you. He's just busy. But kids aren't stupid. Sophie knew her father had chosen someone else, had chosen a woman who didn't want her, had chosen a life that didn't include her. She started acting out at school, tantrums, defiance, seeking negative attention because negative attention was better than the absence she felt from her father.
Before we continue, if you believe in second chances and the power of faith, type restore in the comments right now. Let your voice be the spark of hope for a family in need. Show the world your faith in action.
Over 2 years, 2022 to 2023, Michael missed moment after moment. Connor's 12th birthday, March 2023, Michael promised to take Connor to a Diamondbacks game. Connor was excited for weeks. But the day before, Vanessa reminded Michael they had tickets to a wine tasting event she'd planned months ago. Michael called Connor. Buddy, I'm so sorry, but Dad can't make it tomorrow. Something came up with work. We'll reschedule. They never rescheduled. Connor spent his 12th birthday without his father. Sophie's school play, May 2023. Sophie had the lead role in her elementary school's production. She begged Michael to come. Daddy, please come. I'm the star. I want you to see me. Michael promised he'd be there. But Vanessa had planned a weekend trip to San Diego. Michael, I booked this trip months ago. Your daughter does plays all the time. You can see the next one. Michael missed the play. Sophie looked into the audience at the part where she was supposed to see her father's supportive face. His seat was empty. She cried backstage after the performance. Daddy doesn't care about me. Connor's soccer championship, October 2023. Connor's team made it to the championship game. He'd been playing soccer for 5 years. Michael used to never miss a game. Connor texted, Dad, championship game Saturday at 2 p.m. Can you come? It's really important. Michael responded, I'll try, buddy. Saturday came. Vanessa wanted to go furniture shopping for their house. Michael, we've been planning this for weeks. Your son has games all the time. This is the championship, and there will be other championships. Let's go. Michael went furniture shopping. Connor played the championship game, scored 2 goals, and looked into the stands for his father. Jennifer was there, cheering, but Dad's seat was empty. After the game, Connor stopped texting his father about soccer, stopped sharing about school, stopped trying to make Dad proud because Dad wasn't watching anyway. Christmas, 2023. The final straw came at Christmas 2023. Connor and Sophie hadn't seen their father since October 2 months. Michael had been too busy with work and holidays to schedule a visit. They sent texts. Connor, Dad, can we see you before Christmas? We miss you. Sophie, Daddy, can we visit, please? Michael's responses were brief. Maybe after the holidays. Things are crazy with work. The truth, Vanessa had planned a luxury trip to Cabo for just the 2 of them over Christmas. This is our first Christmas as husband and wife. I want it to be special, just us. Michael agreed. He spent Christmas in Cabo with Vanessa, while Connor and Sophie spent Christmas morning opening presents without their father. Sophie cried, "Why doesn't Daddy want to see us anymore? Did we do something bad?" Connor, trying to be tough at 12 years old, said, "Dad has a new family now. We're not part of it." Jennifer was furious. She called Michael. He didn't answer. She texted, "Your children are heartbroken. They haven't seen you in 2 months. You missed Christmas with them. What kind of father are you?" Michael responded, "Stop trying to guilt me. I have a life. The kids are fine. You're being dramatic." But the kids weren't fine. Connor was clinically depressed. Sophie had anxiety. Both were in therapy trying to understand why their father had abandoned them. On November 8th, 2023, Connor sent his father a text message at 9:47 p.m. "Dad, why don't you love us anymore? Did me and Sophie do something wrong? We miss you so much. Please tell us what we did wrong so we can fix it. We'll be better, we promise. Just please come back." Michael read the text while sitting on his couch in his luxury home. Vanessa was upstairs, getting ready for bed. His first instinct was guilt. His son was begging for his love, clearly hurting. His second instinct was defensiveness. He did love his kids. He just had a life. They were being dramatic. Michael was about to delete the text like he deleted dozens of similar messages when the temperature in the living room dropped 40 degrees in an instant.
If this moment is touching your heart, share your story or a prayer request in the comments below. Someone watching may need the encouragement only you can give. Tag a friend who could use this message of hope today.
The cold was instant and overwhelming. Michael's breath became visible. Frost formed on the windows of his climate-controlled luxury home. What the hell? Michael stood, looking toward the thermostat. But before he could move, he felt it. A presence, undeniable, overwhelming. Between him and the stairs, a figure materialized. Light, golden, warm light, emanated from a man in white robes, not reflecting light but generating it from within. Michael's rational mind tried to process. Hallucination? Break-in? What is this? But even as he thought it, he knew this was real. More real than anything in his carefully constructed new life. Jesus Christ stood in Michael's living room, his eyes holding both infinite compassion and absolute judgment. "Michael Brennan," he said, and his voice filled the entire house despite being spoken softly. "You just read a message from your 12-year-old son, begging to know why you don't love him anymore, asking what he did wrong, promising to be better, if you'll just come back. And you were about to delete it, like you've deleted his heart 1,000 times over the past 2 years. Michael's mouth went dry. "This isn't real. This is stress, or this is judgment," Jesus interrupted. "Judgment I've delayed for 2 years while Connor and Sophie cried themselves to sleep, wondering why Daddy chose someone else. Judgment that arrives tonight because what you just did, reading your son's desperate plea and preparing to delete it, that revealed the depth of your abandonment." He moved closer, and Michael wanted to run upstairs to Vanessa, but found himself unable to move. "Do you know why I'm here?" Jesus asked. Michael shook his head, though terrible suspicions were forming. "I'm here because Connor prayed tonight. After sending you that text, he knelt by his bed and prayed, 'Jesus, please make Dad love us again. Please show him we're sorry for whatever we did wrong. Please bring our dad back.' And Sophie prayed the same prayer she's prayed every night for a year. 'Jesus, make Daddy miss us. Make Daddy want us. Make Daddy come back.'" Tears formed in Michael's eyes, not from genuine sorrow yet, but from being caught, from having his comfortable compartmentalization exposed. 2 years of prayers, Jesus continued. 730 nights of children begging me to restore their father's love. And tonight, I'm answering those prayers. Not by making you feel love that requires you to choose, but by making you feel exactly what Connor and Sophie have felt for 2 years. Every broken promise, every missed visit, every moment they've waited for a father who chose someone else. "Please," Michael begged. "I'll call them tomorrow. I'll schedule a visit. Just don't." "You've had 2 years to call them," Jesus said firmly. 2 years to schedule visits. 2 years to choose your children over your new wife's comfort. You've chosen against them every single time. Tonight, you don't get to choose. Tonight, you experience consequences. Jesus reached toward Michael's forehead. Michael tried to pull away, but his touch was inescapable. The moment those fingers made contact, the living room disappeared. Michael found himself transported into his children's experience, seeing and feeling everything from their perspective over the past 2 years. The vision began with the first missed weekend, when Michael had chosen Vanessa's Sedona trip over his custody time. Michael experienced it from Connor's perspective, age 9, excitedly packing his overnight bag Friday afternoon for Dad's weekend. Through Connor's heart, Michael felt the disappointment when Dad's text arrived. "Sorry, have to work this weekend." Michael felt Connor's confusion. Dad had never missed a weekend before. Was everything okay? He felt Connor typing back, "Okay, Dad. Miss you." Trying to be understanding, trying to be a good son. And he felt Connor's sadness that night sitting in his room at Mom's house, bag still packed, wondering what Dad was doing for work. The truth that Dad was in Sedona with a new girlfriend Connor didn't know yet, but he felt something had changed. The vision shifted to Sophie's first meeting with Vanessa, several months into Michael dating her. Michael experienced it from 6-year-old Sophie's perspective. She'd been excited to meet Daddy's new friend. She'd drawn a picture for Vanessa, had practiced what to say, had wanted to make a good impression. Through Sophie's eyes, Michael watched himself and Vanessa arrive at a restaurant where they were meeting the kids for lunch. Sophie ran up excited, trying to hug her father. Michael had given her a brief, distracted hug, then turned his attention immediately to Vanessa. "This is my friend, Vanessa," Michael had said. Sophie held out the drawing. "I made this for you." Vanessa had taken it with barely a glance. "That's nice," then immediately turned to Michael. "Should we order? I'm starving." Through Sophie's heart, Michael felt the dismissal like a slap. She'd worked hard on that drawing, wanted to make Vanessa like her, and Vanessa had barely looked at it. During lunch, Sophie tried to talk to her father, but Michael kept directing his attention to Vanessa. When Sophie started telling a story about school, Michael interrupted. "Soph, not now. Daddy's talking to Vanessa." Through Sophie's perspective, Michael felt the message loud and clear. Vanessa was more important than his daughter. The vision shifted to Connor's 12th birthday, March 2023. Michael experienced Connor's excitement when Dad promised to take him to a Diamondbacks game. Connor had told everyone at school, had counted down the days, had even worn his Diamondbacks jersey to school the day before, so excited about Dad's visit. Then through Connor's phone, Michael saw the text he'd sent. "Buddy, can't make it tomorrow. Work came up. We'll reschedule." Michael felt Connor's devastation. The crushing disappointment, the embarrassment of having told everyone Dad was coming, the realization that work probably meant Vanessa again. He felt Connor crying in his room that night, not angry crying, but broken crying. The crying of a child who understands his father's love is conditional, optional, less important than other things. And he felt Connor's prayer. "Jesus, why doesn't Dad want to spend time with me anymore? What did I do wrong?" The vision shifted to Sophie's school play in May 2023. Michael experienced the day from Sophie's perspective. She'd been so excited, had the lead role, had been practicing for weeks, had begged Dad to come. Through Sophie's heart, Michael felt her excitement getting ready that morning, felt her looking into the audience before the play started, searching for Dad's face. He saw himself the empty seat where Michael should have been sitting, and he felt Sophie's heart break in real time. Through her 9-year-old perspective, Michael felt the shame. Other kids' parents were there, but not her dad. Dad had chosen something else. He felt her trying to concentrate on her lines while fighting back tears. Felt her embarrassment when other cast members asked, "Where's your dad? I thought he was coming." And he felt Sophie backstage after the performance, crying while Jennifer held her. "Daddy doesn't love me. He promised he'd come. He lied." The vision shifted to October 2023, Connor's championship game. Michael experienced the week leading up to the process. Game from Connor's perspective. The excitement of making the championship, the practice, the anticipation, and the careful text Connor sent Dad. "Championship game Saturday at 2 p.m. Can you come? It's really important." Through Connor's heart, Michael felt the hope when Dad replied, "I'll try." He felt Connor scanning the stands at the game, looking for Dad, seeing Mom there, seeing other players' fathers there, but not his dad. He felt Connor scoring 2 goals, his best game of the season, and instinctively looking toward the stands to see if Dad saw it. But Dad wasn't there. And he felt Connor's realization after the game. Dad chose furniture shopping over my championship. I'm not important to him anymore. The vision accelerated, showing message after message Connor and Sophie had sent that Michael had ignored or responded to minimally. Connor, Dad, can you help me with my math homework? I'm stuck. Michael's response, ask Mom. She's better at math. Sophie, Daddy, I got an A on my spelling test. My teacher said I did amazing. Michael's response, good job. No follow-up, no engagement. Connor, Dad, I made the honor roll this semester. Michael, no response for 3 days. That's great, buddy. Sophie, Daddy, when can we visit? I miss you so much. Michael, soon, Princess. Dad's busy with work. Each message was a child reaching out, seeking connection, and each minimal response was a father pulling further away. Through their perspectives, Michael felt what his children felt. We're not important. Dad doesn't care. We did something wrong, and now Dad doesn't love us. The vision shifted to Christmas morning 2023. Michael experienced it from both children's perspectives simultaneously, a devastating double vision. He felt Connor waking up Christmas morning in Jennifer's house. His first thought, maybe Dad will call today. It's Christmas. He felt Sophie running downstairs excited about presents, then asking, is Daddy coming over today? Can we see him? He felt Jennifer's careful answer, Daddy's traveling for work, honey. And he felt both children's heartbreak. Dad chose to be away on Christmas. Dad didn't even call. Dad didn't send gifts. Michael had forgotten. Through their hearts, Michael felt the final abandonment, the death of hope, the acceptance. Dad has a new life. We're not part of it anymore. He felt Connor's numbness, not crying anymore, just empty acceptance, protecting himself from more hurt by stopping hoping. And he felt Sophie's continued heartbreak, still young enough to hope, still believing maybe Daddy would come back, still not understanding why she wasn't good enough for Dad to love. The vision shifted to tonight just hours ago. Michael experienced Connor typing the text, Dad, why don't you love us anymore? Did me and Sophie do something wrong? Through Connor's perspective, Michael felt the desperation in writing that message, the vulnerability, the risk of asking directly rather than pretending everything was fine. He felt Connor's prayer after sending it, Jesus, please make Dad love us again. We'll be better. We'll be perfect. Just please bring Dad back. And he felt Connor crying himself to sleep, still holding his phone, hoping for a meaningful response that would never come. Jesus showed Michael something even more devastating, the internal damage his abandonment had caused. He showed Michael Connor's depression clinical, severe, requiring medication. Showed him Connor's thoughts. I'm not good enough. If I was good enough, Dad would want me. I must be broken. He showed Michael Sophie's anxiety panic attacks before school, fear of abandonment by everyone, inability to trust that people who say they love her actually will stay. He showed Michael their therapy sessions, both children in counseling, trying to understand why Dad left, blaming themselves, carrying wounds that would take years to heal. The vision ended. Michael was back in his living room, on his knees, sobbing uncontrollably. I destroyed them, Michael gasped. I chose Vanessa over my own children. They've been crying for 2 years, thinking they did something wrong, and it was me. I abandoned them. They didn't do anything wrong. I did everything wrong. Jesus knelt beside him. Yes, you made vows to those children when they were born. You promised to be their father always, and when your marriage ended, you promised the divorce wouldn't change your love for them. But you broke every promise, not because you had to, not because circumstances forced you, but because you chose a woman who wanted you to erase your children, and you agreed. How do I fix this? Michael wept. By choosing them, Jesus said firmly. By telling Vanessa that your children are non-negotiable, that they're part of your life and always will be. That if she can't accept that, you're incompatible. By restoring full custody time. By showing up for every event, every game, every moment. By spending years rebuilding what you destroyed in 2 years. Vanessa will leave me if I do that. Then she leaves, Jesus said, his voice hard now. Michael, your children are your responsibility before God. Vanessa is an adult who can make her own choices. Connor and Sophie are children who need their father. If you have to choose, and you do, you choose your children. Always, every time. He began to fade. Tomorrow morning, You tell Vanessa the truth. Your children are coming back into your life fully, and if she can't handle that, she's not the right partner for you. Then you go to your children and apologize for 2 years of abandonment. You don't make excuses. You don't blame Vanessa. You take full responsibility, and then you spend the rest of your life proving you meant it. Will they forgive me? Michael asked. Maybe, maybe not. Trust is rebuilt slowly through consistent action. You destroyed their trust in 2 years. Rebuilding it will take longer, but it starts tomorrow, with one choice: them over her. Every time. Jesus was gone, leaving Michael alone, but not the same Michael who'd been about to delete his son's desperate text. Michael didn't sleep that night. He sat in his living room until dawn, processing what he'd experienced. Every moment of his children's pain, every broken promise, every abandoned hope. At 7 a.m., Vanessa came downstairs, dressed for work, cheerful. Morning, coffee's ready. I've got early meetings today, so we need to talk, Michael interrupted. Now, before you go to work. Something in his voice made Vanessa pause. Is everything okay? No, everything is not okay. Sit down. They sat across from each other, at their expensive dining table. Vanessa, I need to tell you something. My children, Connor and Sophie, they're coming back into my life, fully. I'm reinstating full custody schedule. Every other weekend, Wednesday, dinners, holidays. I'll be attending their school events, sports games, everything. They're my children, and I've been abandoning them for 2 years. That stops now. Vanessa's face hardened. Michael, we've discussed this. I'm not interested in being a stepmom. You knew that from the beginning. You don't have to be their mom, Michael said. They have a mother, but you do have to accept that they're part of my life. They live here part-time. They're included in holidays. They're not negotiable. This wasn't the deal, Vanessa said, her voice rising. You told me you could compartmentalize. You promised your kids wouldn't interfere with our life. I was wrong, Michael said firmly. I promised something I shouldn't have. My children aren't something to compartmentalize. They're human beings who need their father, and I'm choosing to be their father again, regardless of how that affects our relationship. So you're choosing your kids over me. I'm choosing to be the father they need. If you can't accept that, then yes, I'm choosing them over you. Vanessa stood, angry now. This is unbelievable. I married you believing we'd have our own life, not playing house with your ex-wife's children. They're my children, Michael said, his voice hard. Not my ex-wife's children, mine. And I should never have let you make them feel like they were inconvenient. That's my failure. I'm correcting it now. If you do this, Vanessa said coldly, I'm leaving. I'm not living in a house with kids every other weekend. I'm not dealing with custody schedules and school events. That's not the life I signed up for. Michael felt his heart sink. Part of him still loved Vanessa. Part of him wanted to back down, compromise, find a middle ground. But he remembered Connor's text. What did we do wrong? He remembered Sophie crying backstage after her play. He remembered Jesus's words. You choose your children, always, every time. Then I guess you're leaving, Michael said quietly. Because I'm done choosing you over my kids. If you can't accept them, we're not compatible. I'm sorry it took me 2 years to realize that. Vanessa stared at him, waiting for him to back down. When he didn't, she grabbed her purse. I'm staying at a hotel tonight. You need to think very carefully about what you're throwing away. I already thought about it. Michael said, I threw away my children for 2 years. I'm not throwing them away anymore. Not for you. Not for anyone. Vanessa left, slamming the door. Michael sat at his dining table in his expensive house and cried not for Vanessa, but for 2 years of wrong choices. 2 years of putting her comfort over his children's needs. 2 years of destroying Connor and Sophie's trust. But crying wasn't enough. He needed to act. At 9 a.m., Michael called Jennifer. I need to see the kids. Today. Now. If possible. Michael, you haven't asked to see them in 2 months. I know. And I need to apologize to them face to face. Jennifer, I've been a terrible father. For 2 years, I've chosen Vanessa over Connor and Sophie. I've broken promises, missed events, abandoned them emotionally, and last night, Jesus Christ appeared to me and made me experience what I've done to them. I felt their pain, all of it, and I need to make this right. Silence on the other end. Then, Jesus appeared to you. I know how that sounds, but yes. And he showed me 2 years of abandonment from Connor and Sophie's perspective. Jennifer, I destroyed our kids, and I need to apologize and start making it right. They're at school right now, but you can come over after school, 3:30 p.m. But Michael, if this is just more empty promises, if you're going to hurt them again, don't come. They can't take more disappointment. It's not empty. Promises. I'm done choosing Vanessa over them. In fact, Vanessa's probably leaving me because I told her the kids are non-negotiable now. Good, Jennifer said firmly. The kids should have always been non-negotiable. At 3:45 p.m., Michael knocked on Jennifer's door, the house where his children lived, where he should have been a constant presence. Jennifer answered. They're in the living room. Connor's doing homework. Sophie's watching TV. They don't know you're coming. I didn't want to get their hopes up in case you changed your mind. I'm not changing my mind, Michael said. He walked into the living room. Connor looked up from his homework, shock crossing his face. Dad? Sophie jumped off the couch. Daddy. She started to run toward him, then stopped herself cautious, protecting herself from more hurt. Michael knelt down to their level. Connor, Sophie, can I talk to you both? They sat on the couch, guarded. Connor's expression was skeptical. Sophie's was hopeful but scared. I need to tell you something, Michael began, his voice already breaking. For the last 2 years, I've been a terrible father. I've missed visits. I've broken promises. I've chosen other things and other people over you, and I need you both to know that was not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. I did everything wrong. But we tried to be good, Sophie said, tears forming. We tried really hard. You were perfect, Michael said, crying now. You were always perfect. This was never about you not being good enough. This was about me being selfish. About me choosing my own comfort and my new wife over being the father you needed. Connor's expression was hard, protective numbness. So what? You're here to make yourself feel better? To apologize so you don't feel guilty? No, Michael said. I'm here to apologize because you deserve an apology, and to tell you that things are changing, starting now. I'm going back to full custody schedule every other weekend. Wednesday dinners. I'm coming to your school events, your games, everything. I'm going to be the dad I should have been all along. What about Vanessa? Connor asked skeptically. She doesn't like us being around. Vanessa and I are probably getting divorced, Michael said honestly, because she didn't want to accept that you're part of my life. And I finally realized, you're more important. You're my children. You're my responsibility, and I'm choosing you. Sophie started crying. Really? You're really choosing us? Really, Michael said. And Sophie, I know you're scared to believe me. Connor, I know you don't trust me anymore. I understand that. I destroyed your trust, but I'm going to spend the rest of my life earning it back. Showing up, being there, proving I mean it. He pulled them both into a hug, a real hug, the kind he hadn't given them in 2 years. Connor resisted at first, his body stiff, but gradually he relaxed into it. Sophie wrapped her arms around her father and sobbed. I'm sorry, Michael whispered. I'm so sorry. You deserved so much better than what I gave you, and I'm going to do better. Starting today, Vanessa filed for divorce 3 weeks later. She'd tried to get Michael to reconsider, presented ultimatums, tried negotiating, then turned angry when none of it worked. You're throwing away our marriage for your bratty kids? She'd said in one particularly cruel moment. I'm correcting the mistake I made when I chose you over them in the first place, Michael had replied. They're not bratty. They're children who needed their father. And I'm being their father now. The divorce was finalized in 4 months, quick. No kids involved. No real assets to split except the house they'd bought together. Michael moved out of the luxury home into a smaller house closer to Jennifer's neighborhood. 3 bedrooms, 1 for him, 1 for Connor, 1 for Sophie. Modest, but comfortable. And theirs. He set up their rooms the first week let. Connor pick his own paint color, decorations, bedding. Let Sophie design hers. Made it clear. This is your home, not a guest room. Your home. Rebuilding trust took time. Connor remained skeptical for months. He'd wait for Dad to cancel visits, to break promises. It took 6 months of consistent presence before Connor started believing it was real. Sophie was more forgiving but also more fragile. She'd panic if Dad was even 5 minutes late picking her up. "He's not coming." He changed his mind. "He's coming," Jennifer would reassure her. And Michael always came. Every single time. Never late. Never canceled. Proving through consistency what words couldn't. A year after Jesus appeared, Michael sat at Connor's soccer game, not the championship this time, just a regular season game. Connor scored a goal, and for the first time in 2 years, when Connor looked into the stands, his father was there. Michael stood and cheered. Connor smiled a real, genuine smile, and gave his dad a thumbs up. After the game, as they walked to the car, Connor said, "Dad, thanks for being here. It means a lot. I'm going to be here for every game," Michael said. "That's a promise." "You've been keeping your promises," Connor said quietly. "For a year now. Every visit, every game, every time you said you'd be there, you were there." "I'm trying to make up for 2 years of broken promises," Michael said. "It's working," Connor admitted. "I'm starting to trust you again." Those words meant more to Michael than any promotion, any success, anything Vanessa had ever offered. 2 years after Jesus appeared, Michael stood in his church giving testimony. Connor, 14, and Sophie, 11, sat in the front row. 2 years ago, Michael said, "I was living in a luxury home with my second wife, having abandoned my 2 children from my first marriage. I saw them maybe once a month, missed their birthdays, school events, holidays, chose my new wife's comfort over being their father, and I convinced myself it was okay that they had their mother, that they were fine, that I deserved to move on with my life." He looked at his kids, who were listening intently. But on November 8th, 2023, after my son sent me a heartbreaking text asking what he'd done wrong, Jesus Christ appeared in my living room and did something that destroyed every rationalization I'd built. He made me experience 2 years of abandonment from Connor and Sophie's perspective. I felt their confusion, their heartbreak, their belief that they weren't good enough for me to love. Michael's voice broke. I felt my daughter crying backstage after a play I'd promised to attend but missed. I felt my son's devastation at his championship game when he looked in the stands and I wasn't there. I felt both of them praying every night, asking Jesus to make me love them again. And it destroyed me. I divorced my second wife because she couldn't accept that my children were non-negotiable, lost the luxury home, lost the comfortable life. But I gained something infinitely more valuable: my children's trust, my relationship with them, the ability to be the father they deserved. After the testimony, multiple divorced parents approached Michael, a father with tears. "I've been doing exactly what you did, choosing my girlfriend over my kids. Your story convicted me. I'm going home tonight and making changes. A mother. I've been letting my new husband push my kids to the margins. Hearing what that did to your children, I'm not doing that anymore." Connor and Sophie waited for their dad after standing with him as person after person approached. As they walked to the car, Sophie said, "Dad, I'm proud of you for telling everyone what happened. That was brave." "It needed to be said," Michael replied. "If my mistakes can prevent other parents from abandoning their kids, then something good came from 2 years of bad choices." "Dad," Connor said, "I forgive you. For the 2 years, I know you've been making up for it, and I forgive you." Michael pulled his son into a hug. "Thank you, buddy. That means everything." 3 years after Jesus appeared, Michael sat with Connor, 15, and Sophie, 12, at their favorite pizza restaurant, a tradition they'd built, Wednesday pizza nights. "Dad," Sophie said, "my friend Olivia's parents are divorced, and she says her dad barely visits. She's really sad about it." "That's hard," Michael said. "I told her about what happened with us," Sophie continued, "about how you used to not visit much, but then Jesus appeared, and you changed. And she asked if you'd talk to her dad, tell him your story." Michael looked at his daughter. "You want me to talk to her dad?" "Yeah, because you know what it's like. And maybe if he heard how much it hurt us, he'd change, like you did." Michael reached out to Olivia's father, Tom, the next week. They met for coffee. "My daughter said you have a story I should hear," Tom said, clearly uncomfortable. Michael told him everything: the abandonment, the new wife who didn't want his kids around, the systematic erasure of his children from his life, and the night Jesus appeared and made him feel what he'd done. Tom was quiet for a long time. "I've been doing exactly what you described. My girlfriend doesn't want my kids around, so I've been seeing them less, making excuses, and my daughter, she's been so sad. I convinced myself she'd adjust, that she'd be fine. She won't be fine," Michael said gently. "She'll be wounded. She'll believe it's her fault. She'll think she's not good enough for you to love. I've spent 3 years rebuilding trust with my kids. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Choose your daughter before it's too late." Tom called Michael a week later. "I broke up with my girlfriend, told her my daughter is non-negotiable, and I've been spending every free moment with my kid. She's starting to smile again. Thank you for being honest about what you did wrong. You saved my relationship with my daughter." Michael shared the call with Connor and Sophie that evening. "Dad," Connor said, "you know what's cool? The 2 years you messed up, yeah, they sucked. But now you're helping other dads not make the same mistakes. Like God's using what happened for good." Romans 8:28, Michael said, smiling. "God works all things together for good, for those who love him. Even our failures, if we surrender them, he can redeem." As they finished dinner, Michael looked at his children, no longer the broken, abandoned kids from 3 years ago, but healing teenagers who trusted their father again. He'd lost his second wife, lost his luxury home, lost his comfortable life, but he'd gained what mattered: his children, their love, their trust, their presence. And he'd learned the lesson Jesus had taught him that night. Your children are never negotiable. Choose them, always, every time, no matter the cost. Divorce devastates children, but what happens after divorce, how parents prioritize new relationships over existing children, often causes even deeper wounds. Michael's story represents thousands of divorced parents who move on with new partners who view their children as inconvenient baggage, who gradually reduce custody time because new spouses don't want kids around, who miss school events, birthdays, holidays, because maintaining new relationships feels more important than maintaining relationships with children. This is abandonment disguised as having a life, as moving forward, as putting the past behind you. But children aren't the past. They're living, breathing human beings who need both parents, regardless of marital status. If you're divorced and dating or remarried, hear this. Any partner who asks you to minimize your children's presence in your life is not the right partner. Full stop. Your children are non-negotiable. They existed before this new relationship. They're your responsibility. And choosing a new partner's comfort over your children's needs is betrayal. But my new spouse didn't sign up for stepkids. Then they shouldn't have married someone with kids. Children are a package deal. If someone can't accept that, they're not compatible with a parent. But the kids have their other parent. Yes, but they need both parents. Not just the one they live with primarily. Both. Actively. Consistently. But I deserve to be happy too. Absolutely. But not at your children's expense. Find happiness with someone who embraces your children, not someone who tolerates them minimally or pushes you to distance yourself. Connor's text message broke through Michael's denial. What did we do wrong? Children of divorce almost universally blame themselves when parents become distant. They believe they're not good enough, not lovable enough, somehow broken. That's a lie you plant in them when you choose new relationships over consistent presence. Jesus appeared to Michael because 2 children were praying every night for their father to come back. Those prayers moved heaven. And God answered not by forcing Michael to feel love, but by forcing him to feel what his choices cost his children. Sometimes that's how God saves us, by devastating us with victim perspective, by removing the comfortable distance that lets us rationalize sin, by making us experience consequences we've been ignoring. If you're in Michael's position, if you've been choosing a new partner over your children from a previous relationship, you have a choice to make. Continue the abandonment and destroy your children's ability to trust, to love, to believe they're valuable, or choose them, even if it costs your new relationship. Michael lost Vanessa, but he gained Connor and Sophie. That's not loss. That's restoration of priority. And if you're dating someone with children, ask yourself, can I genuinely embrace their kids? Not just tolerate them, but embrace them? If not, end the relationship. Because asking a parent to choose between you and their children is asking them to commit betrayal. Children deserve parents who choose them, always, every time, regardless of cost. Michael learned that lesson. It cost him 2 years of his children's trust, his second marriage, and his comfortable life. But he learned it. Don't wait until Jesus appears to make the right choice. Choose your children now, before the damage becomes like Michael's years of repair needed, trust slowly rebuilt, wounds that might never fully heal. Your children are waiting. Choose them.
Subscribe to Tales of God's Grace for more true miracles and stories of redemption. Your support helps us reach and restore families around the world. Don't forget to tag a friend and share this video, so together we can spread faith, love, and healing where it's needed most.